Have you ever felt that strange sensation, that prickle on the back of your neck, when you know you're not alone, even when you should be? Well, settle in, because I have a story that will make you question every creak and groan you hear in the night. It's about a house we rented, a house that was perfectly silent, except for the footsteps. Last summer, my friends and I decided we needed a real escape. We found this amazing deal online for a sprawling, two-story country house. The pictures were idyllic. A huge porch, ancient oak trees, and not another soul for miles. It was exactly what we wanted, a place to disconnect from the world and reconnect with each other. We arrived on a sunny afternoon, the air thick with the smell of pine and damp earth. The house was even grander in person, with a slightly faded, forgotten charm. The landlord, a brisk man who met us for the key handover, gave us a quick tour. "Just the 2 floors," he said, gesturing vaguely. "You've got the run of the place. Enjoy the peace and quiet." Peace and quiet. Those words would come back to haunt us. The first couple of days were blissful. We cooked big meals, played board games until late, and told stories on the porch under a blanket of stars. The house had a comfortable, lived-in feel. The floorboards creaked under our weight. The pipes would occasionally gurgle, and the wind would whistle around the eaves. Normal old house sounds. We barely noticed them. We were too busy having the time of our lives. We explored the surrounding woods, laughed until our sides hurt, and felt completely at ease. The house felt like our own little sanctuary, a world away from everything. It was perfect, a little too perfect. The third night is when things started to feel off. I woke up abruptly. You know that feeling when a sound pulls you from a deep sleep, but by the time you're fully conscious, it's gone. The room was pitch black, and the only sound was the gentle hum of the refrigerator downstairs and my friend Sarah's soft breathing from the other bed. I held my breath, listening. Nothing. I convinced myself I'd just been dreaming, rolled over, and tried to go back to sleep. But a new sound started, a slow, rhythmic asterisk. Thump, 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 asterisk. It was coming from directly above my head. My heart started pounding. All 4 of us were sleeping on the ground floor. The second floor was completely empty. We'd glanced up there when we arrived, just a few dusty, empty rooms. There was absolutely no one, and no reason for anyone to be up there. The thumping continued, a steady, deliberate pace. It sounded exactly like someone walking, slowly, methodically, from one end of the upstairs hallway to the other. Asterisk. Thump. 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 Asterisk. I whispered. "Sarah, are you awake?" A sleepy MMMP was her only reply. She was out cold. I was alone with this. The footsteps paused, then started again, this time seeming heavier, more insistent. A cold dread washed over me. This wasn't the house settling. This was something else. The next morning, I felt foolish. In the bright light of day, with the smell of coffee filling the kitchen, my nighttime fears seemed ridiculous. I hesitantly asked, "Did anyone else hear? Walking last night?" "Upstairs." Mark scoffed. "Probably just a squirrel in the attic. Man, this place is ancient." Liam agreed, adding, "Or you were dreaming." They all laughed it off, and I tried to as well. But I couldn't shake the feeling. The sound had been too clear, too human. I spent the day trying to rationalize it. Raccoons, a loose shutter, but nothing fit. The footsteps were too rhythmic, too much like a person's gait. That night, I struggled to fall asleep, my ears straining for any sound. And sure enough, just as the clock on my phone ticked past 3 a.m., it started again. Asterisk, thump, thump asterisk. This time, it was louder, more defined. It wasn't just walking. There was a dragging sound now, like something heavy being pulled across the floorboards. My blood ran cold. I sat bolt upright in bed, my eyes wide in the darkness. "Sarah," I hissed, shaking her shoulder. "Wake up. Listen." She groaned, but then her eyes snapped open as the sound echoed through the ceiling. Asterisk thump. Scrape. Thump. Scrape asterisk. We both froze, clutching our blankets. "What is that?" she whispered, her voice trembling. "It's been happening every night," I whispered back. The sounds continued for what felt like an eternity, a relentless patrol in the empty rooms above us. There was no explanation. We were miles from anyone. The doors were locked, and all four of us were accounted for on the ground floor. The next day, the atmosphere in the house had completely changed. Sarah backed my story. Mark and Liam were still skeptical, but they were visibly unnerved. The easy laughter was gone, replaced by a tense silence. We all kept glancing up at the ceiling. We decided to investigate the second floor together. Armed with flashlights, we crept up the creaking staircase. The air grew colder with each step. The upstairs was just as we'd seen it, empty rooms filled with dust and cobwebs. We checked every corner, every closet. Nothing. There were no signs of entry, no animals, no person. We stamped on the floorboards, trying to replicate the sound. Nothing we did could explain the heavy, deliberate footsteps we'd heard. It was impossible. As we stood in the empty hallway, a profound, chilling silence pressed in on us. This was the place. This was where the walking happened. We couldn't stay another night. The peace and quiet the landlord had promised had become a source of pure terror. We packed our bags in a frantic rush, the setting sun casting long, eerie shadows through the windows. Every creak of the house made us jump. We didn't even want to wait until morning. We loaded the car in near silence, our eyes constantly darting back towards the second-story windows. As we drove away, I looked back at the house one last time. It stood dark and silent against the twilight sky, looking perfectly ordinary, as if holding its secrets close. We never found out what was walking in that house at 3 a.m. Maybe it was a squirrel, or the pipes, or our overactive imaginations. But I know what I heard. And sometimes, when I wake up in the middle of the night, I can still hear it. The slow, steady footsteps, walking in an empty room, right above my head. Thanks for sticking with me through that chilling tale. Have you ever experienced something you just can't explain in a house? Let me know your own spooky stories in the comments below. If you enjoyed this, please give it a thumbs up. And don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss our next adventure into the unknown. Stay safe, and maybe sleep with a light on tonight.